Now, Rashida Tlaib, they're actually talking about Rashida Tlaib on the floor, asking her to be removed. You know, she should be removed. I think everyone agrees that Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Presley, AOC, they should be removed, along with Fire Marshal Bowman. Every last one of them should be removed because they're openly supporting a terrorist organization by the name of Hamas. They should be removed. I don't know why they're even still there. Why is this even allowed? You know, I keep asking this question. Isn't the U.S. Constitution saying something about if you're, you know, editing and baiting a terrorist group, you know, the enemy of the American people? What happens to you? These are treasonous acts that they're doing. They're nothing but traitors to the American people. Well, I want you to listen to this where they're talking about Rashida Tlaib on the floor of the House about all of this rhetoric that she's been saying. And even when it comes to this hospital, remember, we had a big discussion here on LFA TV about the hospital getting hit or not getting hit. The hospital was hit, but not directly, by a missile from Palestine. Well, I retract that. Not from Palestine, because there's no place as Palestine. Never is a place. Never been. From the Gaza Strip. Hamas was shooting rockets. One of the rockets malfunctioned like they all do, and it hit the hospital hit a parking lot next to the hospital, and all the shrapnel and everything from that, it sprayed the hospital building. Took out some of the glass. People were injured, but no one was killed in the hospital. Yes. In the hospital. Yes, they were. So because you had all of the shrapnel, people died around in the parking lot, but it wasn't Israel shooting a rocket at the hospital. So people going back and forth. Okay, but listen to this. I want you to listen to this.
Children, babies, slaughtered. The worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. Israel has a right to exist, a right to defend itself. We have members in this body that do not believe that. Members in this body that cannot muster the courage or the strength to condemn the slaughtering of babies, but have the audacity to repeat a vile and disgusting lie that Israel bombed a hospital. They are not worthy of serving in this body. And the fact that we have people that didn't even sign on to this resolution tells you everything you need to know. If you cannot stand with Israel, our greatest ally in the Middle East, a beacon of democracy and hope and freedom, you do not belong in this body. Those members should resign in disgrace.
I agree. They should resign. And you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people, and I've said this multiple times, especially on X, Twitter X. There's a lot of people on there that call themselves conservatives, Christians even, and they don't want to have any support for Israel. If there's any other nation on the planet, you would think that we could agree that Israel would be the one nation that we would ally with. The one, especially if you're a Christian, especially if you are a Christian. And these people on there calling themselves Christians, they really, I question. Maybe they just didn't read the part where it talked about Israel in the Bible. Maybe they didn't read the part where Moses left Israel and led the Israelites to the promised land. Maybe they just missed that part. Maybe they missed it. Maybe they missed the whole part where Jesus was in Jerusalem and they call themselves Christians. So I'm kind of confused on that. I really am. Well, listen to this one. And I know here on LFA, and I have my reservations as well. I have my reservations about Marjorie Taylor Greene. I've known Marjorie Taylor Greene for years. So has Jeremy. I knew her before she even decided to run for Congress, anything, even before she was even talking about it. I knew her. I went up to D.C. with her, myself and Ben Bergquam, and when we went to Nancy Pelosi's office, when everything was open before they kicked in the pandemic. This was years before that even. And where Marjorie Taylor Greene had a petition to have Nancy Pelosi impeached of her position in Congress, right? And she had over 250,000 signatures, but they just threw it out because they didn't care. Demons will protect demons. But I'll never forget it. I was there with her. But listen to what she's saying here, regardless on how we feel about her. Listen to what she's saying here, because I completely agree about what she's saying when it comes to Rashida Tlaib and the squad, really. Listen.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Clause 2A1 of Rule 9, I seek recognition to give notice of my intent to raise a question of the privileges of the House. The form of the resolution is as follows.
Let me stop it real quick before she goes on, because I just happened to see a comment in here, and this is Michelle. She asked a question. She says, could you please answer why Rashida Tlaib, I'm assuming you're talking about Rashida Tlaib, is allowed to be in office when she's not even from this country? So I'm genuinely asking. You can be a congressman or a congresswoman without being a natural born citizen. You cannot be president. But every other position, you can even be governor, you can even be mayor, every other position in our government, you can fulfill that position not being a natural born citizen. It's only the presidency that you have to be a natural born citizen, to my understanding. And you have to be an American citizen to vote, right? Because you can come into the country, become American, you come into the country the right way, the front door, become American citizen, and then you can vote. You come through the front door and do it. You do what you have to do to become American citizen. You can, but you can never become president.
But I think she was born here, according to what you know.
Who, Rashida Tlaib? No. Rashida Tlaib? No.
It says she was born on July 24 to working class Palestinian immigrants in Detroit. So I don't know what that means then.
To my understanding, she wasn't born here. Or maybe it was Ilhan Omar I'm thinking about.
I don't know.
I don't know. But listen to this. Listen to this.
A resolution censuring Representative Rashida Tlaib for anti-Semitic activity, sympathizing with terrorist organizations, and leading an insurrection at the United States Capitol complex. Whereas in May 2019, Rashida Tlaib said that she celebrated the Holocaust and felt a calming feeling when thinking about the genocide of millions of Jews. Whereas in 2020, Rashida Tlaib retweeted an illustration with the caption, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." And this Palestine Liberation Organization, PLO slogan, has been adopted by Hamas and calls for the elimination of Israel and death to all Jews. Whereas in September 2022, Rashida Tlaib, as a member of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, displayed her disdain for Israel, saying, "You cannot claim to hold progressive values, yet back Israel's apartheid government." Whereas instead of denouncing the horrors of Hamas, slaughtering Israelis, and demanding the release of all hostages held by Hamas, Rashida Tlaib stated on October 8, 2023, "The path to the future must include lifting the blockade, ending the occupation, and dismantling the apartheid system that creates the suffocating, dehumanizing conditions that can lead to resistance." Whereas Rashida Tlaib exhibited her hatred for America by reposting a message on October 12, 2023, blaming America for allowing the deaths of Palestinian babies at the hands of Israel. Whereas Rashida Tlaib led an insurrection at the United States Capitol complex on October 18, 2023, which put members of Congress, their staffs, and Capitol visitors in danger by shutting down elevators, stairwells, and points of egress while obstructing official business in both the House of Representatives and the Senate, including a Senate Foreign Affairs Committee hearing. Whereas the insurrection led by Rashida Tlaib was organized by Jewish Voice for Peace, which the Anti-Defamation League calls a radical anti-Israel activist group that advocates for a complete economic, cultural, and academic boycott of the state of Israel. and that believes Israeli policies and actions are motivated by deeply rooted Jewish racial chauvinism and religious supremacism. Whereas members of the Southern Poverty Law Center, a far-left nonprofit organization, were present at the insurrection at the Capitol on October 18, 2023. Whereas several insurrectionists at the Capitol belong to a group messaging chat called Global Intifada, which is the Arabic word for rebellion or uprising, and refers to a series of protests and violent riots carried out by Palestinians in Israel during the last century. Whereas by leading an anti-American and anti-Semitic insurrection on October 18, 2023, Rashida Tlaib followed Hezbollah's orders to carry out a day of unprecedented anger following an explosion at a Gazan hospital, lying about Israel's responsibility for the attack, which United States intelligence agencies said was not perpetrated by Israel. And whereas members of Congress who denounce the United States while praising terrorist organizations are unfit to hold office, now therefore be it resolved that Representative Rashida Tlaib be censured. Representative Rashida Tlaib forthwith present herself in the well of the House of Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and Representative Rashida Tlaib be censured with the public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. I yield back, Mr. Speaker.
I like everything she said. Rashida Tlaib should be removed, if not removed, at least censured. And Rashida Tlaib, she's highly upset. She's so angry about all of this right now. And she's furious that Marjorie Taylor Greene goes out into the floor and does this. She literally led the charge for insurrection on October the 8th, 2023. This month, she literally led the charge. And the only reason why you didn't have the total chaos, because we have the Republicans in charge, they had security there. They had overwhelming security. I remember saw the videos with Marjorie Taylor Greene walking around and she's recording and showing all of it, but you can see all the presence of the police department. Overwhelming presence of the police department. Just the opposite of what Nancy Pelosi did. You know, Nancy Pelosi told them all to stand down. Let's see what we can get to happen here. Let's see what we can get to happen. You remember that? You remember that? Well, my buddy Ben Bergquam, look at this. My buddy Ben Bergquam, and I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. After I saw this, I sent him a text message. I said, dude, I'm so jealous. I want to be there with you. Well, I might have to work it out to where at some point I can go back to the halls of Congress and walk around with my buddy Ben Bergquam, because we used to get under the skins of these tyrants. I mean, seriously. But he had the opportunity to ask Rashida Tlaib some questions. You see that right there? You see the person right there? That is Rashida Tlaib. Y'all see that? And Ben Bergquam is recording it, and he gets up to her and he gets to talk to her. Watch this reaction.
Congresswoman, will you denounce Hamas? Will you denounce Hamas? Why do you support terror?
You see that? Her own door is locked, and she get in, and Ben Bergquam is talking to her. Y'all see that? Look at it. Look at that. Right there. She can't even get into her own office because they locked the door. And Ben Bergquam just get to sit there and ask her questions, and she is like getting under her skin. But I want y'all to pay attention, because once she gets on the other side of the door, she's going to be screaming. He's going to mention it. Watch.
Why do you support terrorists?
You're dehumanizing Palestinians.
No, you're supporting terrorists. No, you're supporting terrorists. You're supporting terrorists.
Wow. Now listen.
She's screaming in there. That's who we have in Congress, guys. That's who we have in Congress. Right there. I heard her say, I don't want to be here anymore. That makes two of us for you. Apparently they called the Capitol Police, so police officer just went inside. I told him, thank him for his service. Ironic, isn't it? The same people that want to defund the police are the first ones to call them for being asked questions. That's the tough thing, being asked questions. So apparently this representative, so-called representative, doesn't want to be asked questions by American citizens. A representative of America who supports Palestine, but not America. That's the world we're living in today. Well, the officers just came out and they walked away. I said, "Am I okay?" They said, "You're okay, sir. Just don't impede the members." Would never think about it. Never, ever think about it. Just here to ask questions and hold them accountable. What's ironic about this is the left does this. They love to do this. They send out their people to, they go and harass representatives. I just want to ask questions, but these guys are so not used to having media that actually holds them accountable that they're inside there right now. Their staff keeps poking their heads out to see if I've gone. It's so pathetic. They'll send their minions out to attack other politicians, but you show up and ask a question, they will hide and run away. This is what needs to happen every single day. We need to have people here holding these people accountable every single day. If you're a young person in America and you come to DC, you can do it. Just show up on the street corners, go into the offices, ask them questions. Be respectful, but ask them questions. These people need to be held accountable. We need an army of people doing this every single day.
Yep. Every single day. We need an army of people. And I remember a couple of times myself, Ben Bergcron would go there, and then the government state media, they would get angry. They would literally tell Ben Bergcron and myself to stop doing what we're doing. And we're like, what do you mean stop doing what they're doing? They said, you're not here to be reporters. You're here to be antagonists. You're activists. And I said, no, we're doing what you're not doing. We're asking the questions that the American people want to know. You're the government state media. At the time, I was calling them dinosaur media, right to their faces. You're the dinosaur media. People are sick and tired of the lies that's coming out of you guys. You go around and you sugarcoat everything, all of the questions that you have for these politicians. You won't ask tough questions. And Ben Bergcron just sit there and ask Rashida Tlaib, will you denounce Hamas? She go, oh my goodness, you're degrading the Palestinian people. You're degrading them. You're dehumanizing them. No, he didn't ask you about anybody other than Hamas, but she just admit, if you're Hamas, you're Palestinian. Not all Palestinian are Hamas, but all Hamas are Palestinian. She just admitted to it.
You like the content Will Johnson is producing? To stay informed and up to date with the current events, go ahead and hit the thumbs up and subscribe to see more videos like this one. Also, to find Will Johnson, visit www.uaf.media.